seem to be gelling nicely. Kamensky, one of my favorite players for years, is having a good series. And Biakin is back. And it's nice to see a lot of these names again. Kamensky now with the puck with the short pass. Long clearance in.
The Austrians playing good physical hockey, taking the body out, not making it very easy for the Russians to get on track.
Michael Shea clearing it all the way out of the zone. A long pass up, and it's pushed away by Shendelev. Going after Nicolishin. Nicolishin on the boards takes a heavy hit in as that puck is shot all the way down the ice. The Russians are taking no prisoners in this competition. They're physical and they're just scoring goals like nobody's business. Every time we have a day of hockey, which is every day, at the end of the day, we try to bring you a highlights package of games played earlier, and that's what we're doing now. The Austrians breaking down on the Russians, and the Russians, for once, under a little pressure. The Austrians, as we said, are a very physical team, and they're difficult to play against. They don't give a lot away.
The Austrians playing dump and chase hockey. They knew that would be the strength of their game, trying to force the Russians back, getting two men going after the puck quite a bit of the time.
Martin Ulrich making a nice pass on the wing, but the Austrians still not threatening the Russian goal. Ulanov, one of the stronger players out there, got the puck forward. That came right in front of the goal as Berezin picked it up. Big shot is picked up by Ulrich as that missed the target. Close in, gunning for the far corner. The rebound comes in and Pushaker picks it up. Shiplakov goes in to help out as Bure, Valery Bure, brother of Pavel, gets stuck right in the crease.
Big Michael Guntner in front of the goal, dropping the Russian forward as he was trying to go for a rebound. The Austrians playing a very physical game around the front of their own net as well as along the boards. They were doing anything possible to try and slow the Russian machine down.
Yushkevich, back from the National Hockey League, is out there now, and that's whipped around. Picked up along the boards. Berezin, who really did impress during the Olympics, working the puck at the other end of the rink. But the Austrians, every once in a while, got their game together and applied the pressure on the Russians. But I think everyone knew in the building that it was only a matter of time before things started to happen for the Russians.
Yakin putting the grab on his man, Lanzinger bringing him down, holding the call on that play. Yakin going to the penalty box.
30-year-old Biakin plays hockey in Edmonton. In the penalty box, would that make a difference to the 0-0 scoreline? Kamensky back from Quebec. Shea was back at the blue line. 4-on-3 situation. The Russians still pressing. You can see the triangle being set up. With most teams, that triangle will be right in front of the goaltender, but these guys come right out and force the issue. Kamensky, good move out there to get away from Pusnik, and he just casually flips it all the way down the ice. The Austrians not afraid to take it to the Russians, but they're not getting the shots on goal. Hohenberger flipped it in. Kamensky, who's so strong on the puck, able to prevent that one from being shot out front. And now a 5-on-4 situation. Still a power play for the Austrians. Long shot in by Doyle, one of the Canadian Austrians on the team. Excellent support as Ulanov moved down. Got a little help there from Imalen. Still a power play for the Austrians. Burton shot it in. Moore was hit just inside the line. A one-timer coming from Muir again, and the Austrians having a good spell out there.
Muir, the guy with the quick snapshot, gets this one away. He scored a beauty against the Canadians. Was the highlight of the game for Austria in that Canadian game.
Eight seconds on the power play, and a shot going over the top of the net. The Russians now back at full strength, and things are changing. Pushaker wants to get his man out of the net. Delayed penalty. The shot came from Smirnov, bounced up high, went down into the net. That's number one.
Not the prettiest of goals, but Smirnov will take it. It gets the Russians on the scoreboard. Delayed penalty was going to be called here. The penalty was going to be called against the Austrians. The referee had his arm in the air. The action had continued. The puck going over the goal line, off the deflector glove of Pushaker. Then he just can't get a handle on it.
Burton gets up with a high stick trying to swipe at that. It doesn't work. Just a couple of seconds now on the period, and 1-0 is how it ends. A surprise scoreline. I think a lot of people thought the Russians would come out and blow the Austrians away. But the Austrians play in a tight defensive game. Some good checking in the neutral zone. Held the Russians to 1 goal, and that's good hockey. The second period now. Let's take a look at this. These are highlights from this game played earlier today. This Russian team is building nicely. A lot of these guys haven't seen each other for a season, and they're back playing together. One of the nice surprises is that Valery Bure is here. Pavel still in the NHL, unable to make it over. But his younger brother with the Canadian organization has elected to come to Europe, and that really is nice to see, because I think a lot of people wanted to see Pavel, but Valery is just as good.
The kid playing junior hockey in the western part of the U.S., the Western Hockey League. He is doing things right now, getting set for an NHL contract. Had he not been here, he'd be watching big brother Pavel, who's in a battle against the Flames. Calgary and Vancouver really going at it in the NHL playoffs.
Offside to Radland.
One of the future stars, and well, he's a present star, but I'm sure he's going to be big in the future. Deer Colt, number 74, a youngster with a lot of promise, playing some good hockey now, but give him some time at international level with international experience, and he'll be there. Rauchenwald and Fedulov. Shendelev, who's always strong, played well during the Olympics for the Russians. On the puck now, the Russians with Kamensky doing a lot of work, throwing the puck into neutralized territory. And still unable to get that goal by Pushaker, that puck by Pushaker. Only one goal scored so far. We're in the second period in these highlights. And the Russians working hard, but as I said, still unable to put the puck beyond the goaltender. Eventually, Biakin does it. Boy, it took a long time.
They had enough time in front of the Austrian goal to write a letter and send it home. The Austrians right out to lunch here. The puck goes in front of the net. You score. No, you score. Fedulov takes a shot at the goal. It comes right back onto the stick of Biakin. And he backhands it very easily into the top of the Austrian net.
Kovalenko first, Fedulov, Biakin, Pushaker. He's doing the movements. He's probably fit after that one.
I wouldn't have traded places with that guy for anything on that play. He looked like an octopus out of water.
Pushaker trying to get the glove, the stick, everything into position. It wasn't going to work. 2-0 in the second period. Pushaker getting in front of that and hanging on.
15:03 del secondo tempo, segna il secondo gol per la Russia il numero 6 Biakin, assistito dal 13 Valeri Kamensky.
This is a good game and a good period for the Austrians. They're under pressure, but they're soaking it up. And every once in a while they get into a position where they might possibly do something.
The Austrians have moved the puck around pretty decently. I mean, the Russians are a quicker hockey team. But the Austrians, to their credit, really stay together and they move the puck around quite nicely. They were out-muscled, and the depth of the Canadian bench took its toll against the Austrians. But the Austrians did really well to hang in there with the Germans, and they came off with a hard-fought tie, as we said before.
Yuri Tsiplakov goes to the penalty box. Power play for the Austrians. Pushaker doing well between the pipes. The Austrians on the move now. It's second period action. Frolov takes his time and flips that all the way down to the goaltender. Doyle, the big Canadian Austrian, gets it up on the wing, and things start to look a little brighter here for the Austrians. One or two passes clicking. Frolov caught. And the Austrians bringing it over with that extra man. Still a power play, but the Russians not giving anything away in front of the net. Long pass back, the shot in, the rebound right there, everyone gunning for it. Still not in the net. Rattled away to the far side, and the Austrians trying to get fresh legs on there to continue with this power play. That was very pretty indeed, and Colt, we spoke about a moment ago, finishes it off very, very nicely. Backhander upstairs. It's a 2-1 scoreline now, and listen to those Austrian fans in the background. They love this.
Dieter Kohl, straight off the bench, along the blue line, gets a breakaway pass. The teenage kid puts this one away like a seasoned veteran. Nice goal for Kohl. Power play effort for Austria.
Stalenkov goes to his right, but can't get anything on that one. This is a good game for the Austrians. The British will eventually play the Austrians, and the British, we know from living in Britain, hope that that's the one that they're going to win. Well, if they're watching this, they're really going to have their work cut out for them. After 40 minutes of hockey, it's 2-1, the Russians leading the Austrians. A very, very surprising scoreline. The Austrians are not getting blown away, and they're playing some good hockey, albeit defensive for most of the game. They really did perform well. Loose puck in front, and the Russians continue to bang at it, and eventually Kovalenko puts it in the net.
The Russians came out fired up in the third period. 2-1 the score after 2 periods of play, possibly getting a good talking to by the coaching staff to get their act together and get in gear. Kovalenko, 25 seconds into the period, makes it 3-1.
The goaltender with his back to the play as he tries to get up. Unable to do so. Kovalenko picks up his first goal of the game. And the Russians starting to take over here.
Segna il terzo gol per la Russia il numero 26 Andrei Kovalenko, assistito dall'11 Igor Pedulov. Third goal for the Russian team scored by number 26 Andrei Kovalenko, assisted by number 11 Igor Pedulov. Time 25 seconds in the third period. Drittes Tor für Russland durch die Nummer 26 Andrei Kovalenko.
Again, Pushaker is tested, this time from a distance, and he has no problems with that one. But you can see how quickly the Russians break. 1 minute it's in their zone, they're banging it on the boards, and they're just trying to get something to get it out of the zone. Then all of a sudden, you got a 2-on-1, 2-on-2 situation, and they're taking a shot on goal.
The Austrians working very hard, found themselves up against it. The Russians really spread things out during the third period, using the ice surface to their advantage.
End of the game now, and the Austrians have taken off their goaltender. The Russians, with Mikhailov there, calling a timeout. The Austrians throwing on an extra attacker in an effort to claw back at least 1 goal, and then perhaps do it again right after that. 3-1 is the score. They have absolutely nothing to lose. Pushaker on the bench, wants to see what's going on. The face-off is important. It goes to the Russians. 35 seconds on the game. The Austrians hanging on to the puck nicely, and that goes deep. Fedulov unable to break free. Stalenkov making a big save there on Nashheim. A little chip all the way down the ice, and Kamensky picks up a goal, an empty netter, and that really does put the seal on it. Well, if you take your goalie off, you gamble. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. On that occasion, the Austrians lost.
Nashheim gave it his best. A good save made by the Russian goalie. The puck cleared out of the zone. Kamensky with 10 seconds to play puts the icing on the cake. 4-1 for Russia.
So the Russians continue their unbeaten streak. They have
19:50 del terzo tempo, quarto gol per la Russia, segna il numero 13 Valeri Kamensky.
Norway-Finland highlights coming up in a moment, so stay with us if you didn't see that game earlier today. But that's the end of this one. 4-1 is the score. We hope you enjoyed that. We're going to have more highlights in just a moment.